this one's going to be the Dakota fire hole. Now, I am currently out here at the lake. My camp is over there with the blue tarp. That is a rocky area. I'm a little out of breath because I started digging this thing, and there may be a little bit of grass here, but don't let it fool you. It's rocky. So this is going to be a hard one, but we're going to make a Dakota fire hole. So I'm going to pause now. You'll come back a little bit. I'm going to do some digging. Okay, so I'm a little out of breath here. I've been digging for about 45 minutes straight. So, okay, here's the deal. Woo-wee. This hole is about 10 to 12 inches deep. I might dig it a little bit deeper, but this one is only about 6 to 8 inches deep, and it's not as big. It doesn't have to be. This one's going to have the fire in it. This one has a tunnel that goes right through it, and I'll show you. My knife is sticking through it, or will be. I used a hori knife. You can use pretty much any kind of knife, but the deal is oh, we need both holes. Gonna be some editing, but the deal is I've dug a hole from the air side all the way through. You can see my knife poking through now to the bottom of this hole. Now, you can think of this as an in-ground rocket stove, if you will, because I'm going to set my small fire in here, a small fire. We'll talk about it in a second. You don't need some big blazing fire. It's a small fire, so you can cook over it, get a little bit of heat, and not put off a whole lot of light. That's why it's in the ground. Because it's in the ground, it's not going to get a whole lot of oxygen, so what you do is you provide oxygen to it at the bottom of the hole over here, which I'm going to dig out a little more. You dig a hole so that the oxygen can be sucked in from this side to the bottom of the fire, thus creating a hot fire, a smokeless, almost smokeless, but that way, less smoke, and it burns very efficiently. So you won't have to have like giant logs in here. You can burn sticks like this. That's what you're going to put in there. And it's not a long-term fire, but I'm going to go ahead and shut this off now. I'm going to dig some more in this just a little bit. Pull some of this out. It's labor intensive. It absolutely is. And you can do this with like an entrenching tool. I've used my gardening. It's called a hori knife. It's a gardening knife. I think hori is a little bit more work. I didn't want to do this video and make it look easy, because I don't care what you're digging it with, a rock or an entrenching tool, a small shovel, trowel, whatever you got. It's a lot of labor. And I wasn't going to shortchange you on letting you know, showing you how I do it. And I'm going to dig through here just a little bit. I'm going to take my hori and I'm going to make this hole just a little bit bigger. I don't need just any hole. I want a good size hole between the two. The bigger the hole in here, the better the airflow to your fire. And so there we go. Dakota fire hole. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a project that I've been trying to do for a long time. And today, it will come to fruition. So, sit back, enjoy. Here in just a few minutes, literally just a click for you, but about 4 hours for me, we'll have this baby hot and ready to go. I'm going to cook some dinner over it. And you'll notice, while I'm doing that Dakota fire hole here, I'll turn the camera. I am camping over here next to the water, right next to it. I'm about 5 feet from it. And I had to walk all the way up here by this fire pit to dig the fire hole because everything between here and there is pretty much rock. And I'll have a separate fire pit down by my camp tonight. But this is an example of the Dakota fire hole I wanted to do for you. And so we'll get her going here in a little while. It's supposed to rain, and that doesn't matter. If it rains, you just get wet. So, all right, guys. I'm going to show you how I set up a limb line. Oftentimes you're going to be closer to the shore than this, but I don't have much of a choice. This is what I got, so we're going to work with it. Alright, I got a pretty sturdy limb here. That's not so good. So, I think what I'm going to use this limb here. So, I've got a brand new roll. I'm going to open this. It's 50-pound test line. So, at least around here, you probably don't need a line that strong, but we don't have a lot of fish that are 50 pounds. But I'm going to open this up, and no, I don't litter. So, I'm going to open up this line. And I got my emergency fishing kit. That's what I'm using. I have a fishing pole over there behind me, but nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my line, keep it on the spool, and I'm going to tie it around the tree. Yeah, it's coming up a storm, so, and I'm not worried about that either. Just get wet, that's the way it goes. But I'm going to tie it on here using several overhand knots. Why overhand knots? Because they're simple and they're strong enough for what I'm about to do. Okay? So now I've got my line, and I'm going to pull off a whole lot of this because I want to throw my line out there, 20, 30 yards easily if I can. So I'm going to keep spooling. And when I think I got enough, I'm going to go ahead and stop, because I think that's probably close. Alright, I'm done with that for now. Now, I've got my handy dandy emergency fishing kit. I don't know what I'm going to put on here. Got a couple things. You'll just throw on this little crappie jig. It's actually crappie, but I had pretty luck catching pretty much anything on these. I caught a catfish not too long ago on one. I caught bass on them. Of course, crappie. You name it, I've caught them. On this, not this particular one, but this same type of jig. Same color. So, okay, that's super strong. Now I'm going to trim that up a little bit so it looks natural, looks real. It's possible anyway. And since it's already weighted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down. I'm going to pause it for a second, and I'm going to show you how I do it. All right, so get that out of the way. Now, I've got my weight on it. I've got it attached over here. So what I'm going to do is try not to get it wound up. Throw it out as far as I can, which isn't very far because I snagged it on my arm, but we'll try it again. go. That's about 10-15 yards out there. And now it sits. And it'll float a little bit, but not too deep. And we'll hope we'll catch a fish. Okay, guys. So, sad day. So I got my camp set up, I got my fire going, nice little bed of coals, dragged all this firewood over here, processed it, it's ready to be put on the fire tonight. But a bad thing, I won't get the chance to use it because I will include a screenshot of the weather coming in to here. I mean, I'm at El Dorado Lake here in El Dorado, Kansas. That's where I'm at. I got my limb line out over here, about right there. I got my other fishing pole out over there, and you can see there are lots of fish a-flopping right over here. Everywhere. Everywhere. A lot of crappie. They're all around my fishing line, but I doubt if they'll jump in on anything on there, but we'll see. Anyway, because of the weather, I've got to cut this short. I'm going to have to bring my hammock, and everything in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the Dakota fire hole in the light that I have, which isn't a whole lot, but it'll show you how it works basically, and you get the idea. I'm not going to do win stupid prizes by playing stupid games, and that means staying out here during a nasty line of thunderstorms again. So, if I don't have to. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back with you shortly, and we will do the Dakota fire hole. Okay, guys, so this is the Dakota fire hole. We're back. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit before we even start it, but this hole right here is on the north. The wind is coming from that direction. I put it on that side for a reason, so that the wind would go down in the hole and blow on the fire. If you know which way the wind is going to blow from, or which here, normally it's either north or south, cold front's coming through, that's where the thunderstorm's coming from, so I know the wind is going to be coming from the north. That's why I put it there. So, anyway, the wind is going to go through here, blow on the bottom of the coals in this hole, and it should work very well. Now, this is the case for a previous video. On a previous video, I had, pardon me, I'm going to have to edit that out. But on a previous video, I had made the case for Uber matches, okay? Now, Uber matches are great things. I showed them to you, how they work in a barbecue setting. But now, I'm going to prop this up a little bit so it doesn't fall over. But now, we're going to make the case for using an Uber match in real life. You'll see that over here off to the side I got my food that I'm going to cook in this hole, and we'll get that here in just a second, but let's get this going. Alright, I got my lighter. Uber match is already in the hole. I'm going to start down here. Uber match is started. Now, cut some dead cedar a little bit ago. I'm going to go ahead, start feeding it little branches. Now, one of the conveniences about this whole thing is when you're done, instead of having to pour water on it or anything like that, you just dump the dirt back in the hole. Okay? So, initially we're going to have some smoke, and that's okay. We don't have to have a ton of wood. This is not going to be a huge fire. So, I'm going to tell you, I had a conversation with a guy one time. He was an Indian. He actually is from an Indian tribe. And he said there's two types of fire. White man fire, which basically is a bonfire, a big old fire with big old logs, and puts out a lot of heat, puts out, you have to process a whole lot of wood to make that. And then there's an Indian fire, which is small, efficient, and doesn't put out a whole lot of effort to do it. It does what it needs to do, and you don't have all this extra effort. You don't have to do all that extra work, and it's just as hot, if not hotter. Okay? So, we're going to get this, it's going. And now I'm going to move the camera here in just a minute, but I want to get this going a little bit hotter. Get some of these sticks in here. Get it kind of pushed down. Now, you will see that the fire is now burning pretty well. It not quite hot enough to cook on yet, but it's getting there. Let me prop this up just a little bit better. Okay, and you'll see that the fire is just barely coming out of the hole. Okay, that's one of the things that helps you keep concealed, is that you don't have a fire blazing up out of off the ground like you would over here in this campfire ring. And if you want to do one better, you'll notice there's hardly any, if any, smoke coming from this thing because it's burning so efficiently. I'm going to show you a trick here in a second about that. But I forgot what I was saying. So here we go. I'll show you what happens. I'm going to plug up this hole, and now it starts to smoke. And there it is. Very little or no smoke. I remember what I was going to say. Here's what I was going to say, guys. To make this even better, if you wanted to, yeah, the grass is going to catch a little bit. It'll be all right. But if you want to, you could do this with a large canopy of trees overhead. So if you had a large canopy of trees, then that would help disperse any smoke that would come from this. Now mind you, look, it's starting to take off a little bit. Not too bad. And once that burns down a little bit, I will be able to have my dinner warming up. Put a couple more sticks in there. So, even if this grass were to catch on fire, which it won't, if it were, about 40 yards to my left is the water, a giant lake. It would burn right up into the lake. So, but I'm not going to let that get out of control. I have water over here that I was going to cook with, and I have a water spigot about 20 yards to the other direction. Come on, guys. Just having trouble getting a little bit of air in there now. We'll keep it going. and now we're getting a little bit of smoke because the wind died down. There we go. Wind picked up. Now, mind you, this isn't perfect. This is a lot less smoke and a lot less light than your regular old campfire or anything like that. So, this may not be the best option for you wherever you're at, but this is an option. I've used this many times, and it works well. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and start boiling my water on it. I'm not wasting more time. We'll come back here in just a minute. Okay, I'm back. Not a threat, but water's warm, pretty hot actually. Starting to boil a little bit. I'm telling you, there's nothing better than cooking outside on a real fire. Not propane, not charcoal. There's something that adds to the flavor of the food. And it's starting to smoke because I spilled some water in there. So let's get it going again. Add a little more wood. Get her going. The wind is blowing. It's kind of switching to the northeast a little bit, so it's not going directly into the hole like it was, but it still works well. It's burning that wood fast enough, these little sticks. Fast enough, I got to keep adding to it. If I can put it in there without spilling. It's hot, but it's not completely cooked yet. And the cook set I bought at a garage sale. It was $3. So that's another piece of advice I'd give you. If you have garage sales around in your neighborhoods or wherever you live, if that's allowed, before you go out to the stores and start spending a whole bunch of money, because I don't. I hunt down stuff at garage sales. I do the best that I can to spend very little money. And, you know, in this day and age with all the stuff going on, yeah, why not? I get just as good a quality stuff as everybody else. I just don't pay the same. Secondhand stores, I just don't pay the premium price. Secondhand stores, holy moly. Yeah, man. Bust those out. Go to the, I don't know what you got. I'm not going to name it, but whatever your big name secondhand store is you might have, or, you know, whatever. Use those. Before you go pay premium price for everything. Let me stir this up just a little bit. It's starting to boil on one side. Oh yeah, that's hot. Woo-hoo-hoo. No, don't tip. Don't tip. That's a bad thing. So the handle's pretty hot too. I mean, it's not super hot, but it's hot enough I didn't really want to touch it. But, you know, you could. I don't normally do this, but if you wanted to, the case could be made for a deeper hole on both sides and a bigger hole. Again, I don't know why you would want that, but if you have bigger pots or something else that you need to have cooked and you need a bigger hole, experiment. Go out to your local lake or someplace where you can dig a hole and have a pit fire and experiment. See what works for you. Get it right. I guarantee you, you'll be doing your own YouTube videos maybe. I don't know. But I will say this. I have dug, I don't even know, bunches of these. I don't even know how many. I can't even count. But my first time I dug this, I got it wrong. I dug one hole deeper than the other. I could have switched the holes. I didn't. In this particular, it was not a mistake. It's just what you have. In this particular instance, I had clay that I was digging into about 7-8 inches down, and giant rocks. So, I mean, it's unless you're digging in the world's greatest soil, and I don't know where that happens to be, you have to deal with what you got. Let me keep this going a little bit. And when you're cooking outside like this, you cannot be finicky or picky or whatever. You're going to get ashes in your food. You're going to get maybe a bug or two. Hey, that's part of being outdoors. And when you're hungry, especially in a survival situation, you're going to eat it. Yeah, so story time with Mike. I spent some time in a few third world countries in the continent of Africa, and I got to observe how they cooked things. They cooked things on a lot of hardwoods, and it could be anything from a tree that fell over and is now dry to wood from a pallet. They didn't care. But they also don't waste wood either. They also know about having small, efficient, hot fires, and they have never heard. Let me straighten this out for a second. We kind of blew over a little bit. They kind of got it right. They kind of got it right. They don't dig holes and have pit fires. They have mainly ground fires, so they don't have even fire rings everywhere I went. And yeah, it's hot. Almost done. They cook for usually a lot of people. Several houses get together and they eat all at the same time because they have to pool their food in a lot of these places in order to eat. And I'm starting to get some raindrops. This ought to be fun. And you know, it's just kind of a community atmosphere. When you're having to flee, I don't want to do it on my own. I'm out here on my own right now. I do not want to do it on my own. I'll go with my family. I'd like to go with some other people who are equally yoked, like me, or with me. And I don't know if I've really got that at this point, but I can say this. I'm looking. God's going to bring the right people at the right time. And in this day and age, with everything going crazy and people doing things I don't think they normally would do for whatever reason, I'm not willing to be a part of that. I'm not willing, because I don't have to. You know, there was a point in my life where I would kind of go along with the crowd, but once it started getting kind of bad, I'd be like, okay, I know what's going on here. And I think as I've gotten a little bit older, a little more wiser, that's a little. I think I've gotten to a point in my life where I realize I can do my own thing, and if other people don't like what I'm doing, as long as it's not illegal, immoral, or it's really dangerous, then hey, I'm going to go ahead and do it, which is why I'm out here today. I love making these videos. If I could stay out here tonight, I would. It's starting to rain a little bit. I'm getting some drops. Almost done. But that's hot. You can see it boiling. It's only been about, I don't know, what's the timer on? I can't even tell. 19 minutes is what the video is so far. But it hasn't even been on that long, so it's been on for maybe 10 minutes or so. It's boiling. It's boiling really good. Okay, so check this out. Here's what I'm gonna do. My food is done. I'm gonna set it over here. Hopefully it's out of frame a little bit. Now, that fire is out, or is not out, but it's gonna be out. And it's just this easy. There it is. Fire's out. Now, on this side, I'll do the same thing. Okay, you don't need to watch me kicking dirt in a hole. I'm going to pause it, guys.